This fucking team. All right, the Knicks win 107-103. I think after the Clippers game, I may have used the words moral victory. What's the opposite of moral victory? I guess an amoral victory, right? Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. This was rough. This was not the Knicks' best effort of the season in terms of cleanliness, in terms of execution. Yeah, no, James, I agree with you. I've aged. Jesus Christ. I mean, it was an ugly game. It was an ugly game, and it was a game the entire way through. I was like, they're going to lose this game. Even when they were up 19, I was like, get up by 20 so I could feel like they're going to win this game. And they didn't get up by 20, and they kept chipping away. And here's the positive spin that I will put on this. I will say that to a certain extent they won this game with defense, because I did think while they certainly had some defensive possessions that were as my buddy Ray will say, as ugly as a monkey's armpit, like the Levine or the Markkanen stroll down the middle of a lane for a dunk. There were a couple of other ones. They played sound defense, and they played sound defense throughout this entire game. And look, say this about Tibbs. He always says, even when your shot's not falling, you could always play defense, and you could always play hard, and you could always play the right way. I don't know if they played the right way today, because they just kind of ditched their offense in the second half, and they were going one-on-one. And, thankfully we had Julius Randle, and the other team didn't. What I will say is, I don't think that there is such a thing as a bad win. When you're a team in the Knicks position, when you've lost 5 of 6, when you've lost 2 in a row, when you're like on the verge of kind of letting the season slip away, which I don't think it's too much to say that if they had lost this game, they would have fallen to 9-14, 5 games under 500. I think they would have fallen out of the top 10 seeds for the first time. I said it after the last game. I thought this was a really important game. I just thought they had to win this. I thought they had to right the ship. Now they have 2 games off before they play how many games in a row at home, which they have not. So the Knicks this season have played 3 games in a row at home only one time. And they're going to play 2 games in a row at home now. Then they go on the road for 2 more. Then 2 more at home, 1 on the road, and then 5 at home. So they play 9 of their next 12 games at home. I really, this may be a bit much. Like, I don't know. I think this was a big win. Everybody was bad today, except for Julius Randle. And even Julius Randle had his moments, but nobody was good. So let's go through the talking points of the discussion. So Randle was only 11 for 20. It feels like he was a lot better than that. I mean, probably because he hit 5 of 7 from 3. Give him credit, though, for this. The Bulls, the Bulls announcers, anybody walking in the streets of Chicago, literally anyone within a vicinity of like a 5-mile radius of that arena, and anyone watching on any TV anywhere, thought Julius Randle was going to put up the shot that he ended up with the kick-out pass to Bullock. And Patrick Williams certainly thought Julius Randle was going to put up the shot, but Julius Randle didn't put up the shot. He passed out to Bullock, and it was the right play. And it's why he has a chance to make the All-Star team this year. And Bullock made the 3. And I thought that was probably the biggest shot of the game. So I see the Mavs won on apparently a Kristaps Porzingis tip-in. I did not see the end of the game, but yeah, that sucks. So give Julius Randle credit for, even if he went a little bit too much one-on-one, and even if that did take the Knicks out of their offense, it worked more than it didn't. He was a plus 14 in the game they won by 10, or excuse me, by 4. And he was good. I mean, I don't know what else you want to say. He played like an all-star tonight. No one else did. I mean, there were a couple other good stat lines. RJ Barrett had 17 points. Elfrid Payton had 20 points. Of course, Elfrid Payton, despite the start that he had, still missed more shots than he made and still wound up pissing everybody off by the end of the game, including me. He is really just at that place where it doesn't even matter if he's going well. He's just really difficult to watch. He's just really hard to watch, and it's not. It's diminishing returns. Even when things go well on offense, it's diminishing returns. And I must sound like a broken record because I come on here every time and I say the same thing. Tibbs is doing this to develop Emmanuel. The organization wants to develop Emmanuel quickly, leading those bench units. When Emmanuel quickly has it going, they leave him in to end the first half and the fourth quarter. Obviously, when he doesn't, puts Payton back in. He likes Elfrid Payton's defensive consistency. No, that doesn't mean Elfrid Payton is a good defensive player. Yes, it does mean that he can count on Elfrid Payton being at the right place at the right time. That matters to Tibbs. Does it matter as much to Tibbs as it should? Maybe it matters a little bit more than it should. But again, I'm sitting here talking about a team that's 10-13 that was picked to win 22 and a half games. So for any criticism you want to give the man, I went on my rant the other night. I'm not going to go on a rant again because I did not think Tibbs coached a particularly great game. I think he would probably admit that. But you can only critique so much with what he's been able to do. When he continues to give most of the young guys a chance to shine, I saw initially Rafael Burgess, Tibbs doesn't care about development. So you're going to have to explain that one to me because Tibbs is in the first year of a 5-year deal. He has one player on this team, exactly one, that is a veteran. That's not what we would put in the development group, right? Julius Randle, that might be here past next season. He knows these other guys, Alec Burks, Reggie Bullock, Nerlens Noel, Elfrid Payton. He knows all these guys are gone. They're done. And he knows in their place at some point, pretty soon, are going to be the kids that he has here on this roster. He knows that. You may not like how Tibbs has gone about developing the young players on this team. But if you don't think he cares about it, I apologize. You're wrong. Because unless the man completely is unaware of what is in his own best interests, he thinks that the best way to develop young players is to make them earn their minutes and to have a situation where wins still matter, where you're not tanking, and where you're playing meaningful games into, in this season at least, March, April, May. Because Tibbs feels if you do that and you have a culture of accountability and a culture where there are actual wins at stake and they mean something, that if young guys play those minutes, even if it's 10, 12, 13, 14, 15 minutes a game, that those minutes will matter doubly or triply as much as the minutes Kevin Knox was playing when he was a rookie. How much did Kevin Knox playing 30 minutes a game? I'm pretty sure Kevin Knox played more minutes than any other rookie. He got carte blanche to do whatever the fuck he wanted. How much did that help Kevin Knox's development? That's what I'm wondering. And the other thing that I would pose, and you say there's no accountability. I'm sorry, I'm picking on you, Raphael. There's no accountability for Payton, Rivers, or Bullock. Those guys will come in there and do what they're supposed to do. Are they always good at what they're supposed to do? No. Do they do what they're supposed to do, and do they give you a certain baseline of competence on the defensive end? Yes. Could you argue that Kevin Knox was giving them a baseline of defensive competence on the defensive end for a while? Absolutely. And when he was giving them that baseline of defensive competence, he was playing. And then over the last handful of games, he stopped giving them that baseline of defensive competence. And that's why his ass is on the bench. Can he get it back? I hope so. Is he going to have to earn it? Yes. Should he have to earn it? Who the fuck am I to say? I haven't won a goddamn NBA game in my coaching career. Tibbs has won however many he's won. So if he thinks that that is the best way to get the most out of these young players, or maybe, just maybe, these kids that aren't playing so much aren't any fucking good. Which, hey, I hate to put it out there, but it is what it is. The only one, if you want to be, a little critical about, is Obi. And again, I can't blame the Knicks for drafting him when they didn't know Julius Randle was going to play like an all-star, and he's still giving Obi chances every night because Obi's at least doing what he can, and I think he's doing his best to execute. So, um, to me, this is how you turn around a franchise. It's not always going to be pretty. There are going to be people that get left behind in the dust, but and Manny says the people that are playing aren't good either. That's because this is a shitty team. It's a shitty team. It's a team without talent. It's a team that everybody went into this season looking at and saying this team is not going to win 20 games, which is why when the over-under came out, a lot of people were like, holy shit, the Knicks over-under is 22 and a half. Where, take all my money. Take it all. They're going to get the under. And like nobody on this team is great other than Julius Randle. RJ's obviously made strides. Mitchell Robinson's made strides. Alec Burks has had some moments. Emmanuel quickly is, God's gift to humanity. But as we saw tonight, he's still a rookie. He's still going to be inconsistent. These are issues that you have when you have a bad team. But he has made the decision to try to get the most out of them. And tonight, it resulted in a win. And, be critical of the guy all you want. I really do have trouble. I have trouble doing that, when he's 10 and 13, with this roster. Important caveat. All right, let me talk about a couple other guys before I take questions. RJ struggled in the second half. I thought RJ had a really great first half. Am I going to fault RJ? I've been hard on RJ over the last year. Am I going to fault RJ for having some rough moments in the second half when the offense slowed down and they're really keying in on him? No, I'm not going to fault RJ for that. The kid's 20 years old. I thought he had a really good game overall, despite the fact that some less than a good game for him, a good game for his development. I'll say that. I thought every game he's making strides. Same thing with Emmanuel Quickly. Emmanuel Quickly, he only made 3 baskets tonight, excuse me. And I'll take this comment. I don't think Emmanuel Quickly getting 13 minutes just because Elfrid Payton finally hit some layups is good for the long term. If that was happening every night, I would completely agree with you. But over the last, whatever it's been, seems like several weeks, Quickly's averaging more minutes than Payton. I didn't think Quickly was great tonight. I mean, maybe I missed something. I thought he was okay, but at the same time, there were a couple of possessions there when Quickly was running the offense where the offense didn't really get into anything. Is he being harder on Quickly than he's being on probably anybody else on the roster? Absolutely. Is that a decision that he, through his coaching experience, feels that he has to make? Maybe. Again, I'm if you want to say that's the wrong decision, that's your right. I'm going to defer to the guy that has won all these games. And I thought, the minutes that Quickly gave them were important minutes. Like I was about to say, he made, other than the Bullock basket from the corner, I thought Quickly made the most important basket of the game. The 3-pointer when I wrote it down because the score, it didn't feel like the game was about to get away from them because I think they still had a double-digit lead. That's right. They were up by 11. But things were starting to slip away and Quickly hit a 3, and it made it 88-74. And it gave them that cushion back. And I'm convinced that if he didn't hit that 3, they would have lost this game. So I thought Quickly's minutes were important. Yes, the other 3 hit was important too. Every shot Quickly hits is important because he's the only thing that gives any verve to this offense. He's their. I said the other night I thought he was their 3rd most important player. Man, I don't know. If you took him off this team for a month and if you took RJ Barrett off this team for a month, what would hurt more? And that's obviously not to disparage RJ Barrett. RJ Barrett's been wonderful. But I actually think they could replace RJ's minutes more easily than they could replace Quickly's minutes, which is crazy, but it is what it is. Colin, what's up, man? Muhammad, of course you could curse. So many Noel mistakes tonight. Yeah, Noel's he's a gift and a curse. It felt like him and Mitch played about the same number of minutes tonight. Mitch played 28 and Will played 19, so not quite. I thought Mitch was good. I thought Mitch was really aggressive on the boards, and I thought Mitch is just. I've said this before. Mitchell Robinson is just so much more sound on the pick and roll defense. Again, not perfect, but he's just the fact that you could rely on Mitch to give you the correct pick and roll coverage every time, and I can't emphasize enough when I say correct pick and roll coverage, he really has his distance between how far away he's supposed to be from the ball handler and how far he's supposed to be from the roll man. Perfect. Whereas Noel will veer too much to one side or too much to the other. And that's where you see teams get whatever they want in the lane. And that's where things start to go haywire. When Mitch is in the game, it feels like their baseline of defensive competence is like at a certain level, and it doesn't go below that. And that's an incredibly valuable asset to have on your basketball team, which is why he's, he's definitely their fourth most important player after Julius quickly and Barrett. Rivers is the one messed everything up for the bench, never passes. Rivers could pass more. Sure, he could pass more. I agree with that. But that's his game. That's what he's going to do. Is Mitch that significantly better than a guy like Daniel Gafford on the defensive end? He is. Maybe not offensively. He's probably no different than Daniel Gafford offensively. Defensively, I think he's a big step up. Randall really couldn't handle the double team in the second from Jacob Fishbein. Sorry if I got that right. He couldn't handle the double team in the second. To me, Julius not handling the double team means he's taking shots he shouldn't in the lane or like doing crazy spin shit. I didn't think he did any of that. Or he's turning the ball over, which he did a few times tonight, but I didn't think his turnovers were a result of him not handling the double. I mean, he had 6 assists to 3 turnovers, excuse me. That's fine. You'll take 6 to 3 from him any night. Richard. I know Richard from Twitter. Top to bottom, coaches and players is the most promising Knicks team I've seen in years. I would agree with that, which is crazy because they're not the most talented Knicks team we've seen in years. If Quickly had played like the Peyton has played this season, he would be in the G League. I don't disagree with that, at least on offense. I do think Peyton. Again, I'm not trying to tell you. This is when I sound like an asshole. At least I recognize it. Peyton's not a good defender, but he doesn't make mistakes. Peyton's issues on defense are he can't get around a screen to save his life when he's not bringing the proper level of intensity, which the past several games he wasn't. I thought tonight he came out with a good deal of intensity. When Peyton comes out with that deal of intensity on defense, I actually think he's a sound defender because he knows where he's supposed to be. He is in those spots. He gets his steals every now and then. But when he's like lollygagging it like he has been on defense, you're right. He should be in the G League. But again, this isn't about Peyton. This is about wanting to develop Emmanuel Quickly on the ball with the second unit. I guarantee you the Knicks are going to trade for a point guard. If you think the Knicks, I will bet everybody in here a beer that the Knicks are not going to end the season with Elfrid Payton as their starting point guard. And I guarantee you Tibbs was the guy who wants to change the most. You think he doesn't see this shit? He knows what he's looking at. He's not stupid. All right. What else do we got? Obi is a bust, yo. I don't think Obi's a bust. However, I've had a few moments this season where I've looked at Obi make some plays where I'm like, it's a little worrisome, but I haven't gone crazy. When he couldn't post up Thomas Satoransky, and in fairness, Thomas Satoransky is a solid 6'7", not a tiny man. But man, when he put up that fadeaway on Satoransky, and it was an air ball, that's probably the most worried I've been. I'm still not too worried, but that's the most worried I've been. But again, he's played like 15 or 16 games. Let's give it 50 before we call him a bust. Chris, I'm not going to read that. That's a good comment, Kiolo. What am I drinking tonight? From Gabe Sommerstein. I'm drinking the only bourbon I have in my house right now, which is Bullet bourbon. I have a dark rum that I also drink occasionally, but I'm in need of some scotch. I'm in need of. I want a new scotch. I'll probably go and get a bottle of Black Label at some point this week because I'm running out. But if anybody has any scotch tips, he has Obi playing a pick and pop four. Isn't his strength supposed to be as a post player, rim runner, put the kid in a position to succeed? Jeremy Anselson. Hope I got that right. Completely agree. Obi, I wrote in the newsletter today. I think Obi's destiny in the league is as essentially Montrezl Harrell, where a guy who's playing 25 minutes a game, but he's a backup, and you just put him in the pick and roll every play, pick and roll against backups with a guy like Quickly surrounded by three shooters. If you put Obi Toppin on the floor surrounded by three shooters and give him a pick and roll partner like Emmanuel Quickly, that backup unit will outscore teams in an unfair fashion. So that obviously begs the question: do you play him at center or do you try to get a stretch five? I mean, ideally a stretch five. There are stretch fives out there to be had nowadays. There's so many big guys you could shoot, so you could find those dudes. But that's what I think that they should do. Thoughts on the Knicks throwing bags at Gary Trent Jr. from Jonas? What kind of bags are we talking? Because if Gary Trent Jr. keeps this shit up, I mean, what do you think his agent's going to do? His agent's going to point to Joe Harris. His agent's going to point to Davis Bertans. His agent's going to point to, I mean, Miami's, God knows what they're going to give. What's his face? My God, my brain is cloudy at the end of these games. The tall white boy who could shoot in Miami. Yeah, people tossing around 60 million. Robinson, thank you, Duncan Robinson. I appreciate that. Yeah, Gary Trent. Someone's going to pay Gary Trent Jr. 4 years, $50 million or $60 million because why not? I would much rather. Yes, everybody chiming in with the Duncan now. Is that the way that I want the Knicks to spend their money? Probably not. I would given where they're going to be drafting, they might have a chance at this. Well, there's Kispert in the draft. I haven't really gotten into draft stuff too much, but Kispert in the draft is like he's putting up a 50-50 90 season this year in college. That dude's insane. You got the Moody kid from Arkansas. There are shooters in this draft. They're not shooters at the position that New York really needs, which is the point guard. But there are shooters in this draft. So before I go pay Gary Trent Jr., I might want to go the draft route instead. After we have bypassed Mikal Bridges and Devin Vassell in 2 out of the last 3 years. Is Allen Houston available? Moses Moody. Thank you. I appreciate the first name. Yeah, the Gonzaga dude who could shoot is Corey Kispert. What is it you think pivoted Tibbs' decision to change up the backcourt? Colin, that's very funny. I hope nobody got duped by the fake account this morning. That was not me. Stephon Marbury. I miss Steph. Steph gets a bad rap around here. Can I this is another question from Richard. I'll take a few more and then I gotta write the newsletter. Actually, I'll take these two. So Carlos Matos says, Macri, do you think they'll trade for a third guy? And then Richard asks, can Emmanuel quickly be our full-time point guard by next year? I think the first question depends on the second question. Because I think, yes, they're going to try to get a third guy. And I think they may – I don't know. This is where I get jammed up because I think Tibbs is such a traditionalist. And I think Tibbs likes to have his point guards be point guards, his shooting guards be shooting guards, his power forwards be power forwards, and his centers be centers, and so on and so forth. So the notion that they could try to get, name whoever it is, Oladipo or Levine or those are the two guys, and have that be the third guy, and then just throw that dude in at the point guard spot and then either draft a wing or stick Burks or Bullock or whoever in there. I don't know. I don't know if I see them doing that. I see if they trade for that type of guy, I see them slotting that guy alongside Randall and RJ and have it be three, three guys be your 2, 3, and 4, just because Tibbs is such a traditionalist. So, yeah, I could see Emmanuel quickly being their starting point guard next year. Sure, if they don't get lucky in the draft, and yeah, why not? 100%. Man, that's crazy. But I think that's where we're at. Okay, well, a couple more. I'll go to 30 minutes. Answer this one. Michael Aaron, has Emmanuel quickly shown you enough yet to entertain the idea that he could run our offense, or is he more likely to be the two guard and point guard's body? I think he could. Again, that's an impossible question to ask in the NBA today because running an offense, like if you're the point guard and you have the pieces around you that you need to win in the NBA today, like Patrick Beverly is the starting point guard for a championship contender. Rajon Rondo was the starting point guard for a championship contender last year. Shake Milton, was the starting point guard for Philly last year. Like you could put out these point guards if you have other pieces. Do I think that Emmanuel quickly could be the engine to a good offense? That's asking a lot of a kid who is, I don't know that he's that type of shot maker. But could he be a starting point guard has he shown me enough to be a starting point guard in the right situation? Absolutely. If you could make shots at the range and at the frequency that he could make them, and you could make the right passes when they're there to be made, and he has, I highlighted in the newsletter today, he made some really good passes in the last game. Sure, why not? You could break down a defense. You don't need to be able to break down a defense off the dribble. All you need to be able to do is if you get that pick at the top of the arc, you could get into the teeth of the defense, and you need to be able to do something once you're there. And quickly could do that. So, I mean, I guess we'll see after the league starts to adjust to him. But like, quickly even had a moment tonight where, or maybe it was last night. Yeah, I think it was last night where a team played the Chicago, or 2 nights ago. Chicago played the floater, and he just kicked it out. Like that's what he needs to be able to do, and I think that's what he's doing. Hit that thumbs up for Mac. He's the best. Thank you. I appreciate it. Is there a thumbs up button on here that you could hit? If so, hit it. I don't really know how YouTube works. Cade. Oh, Cade. Cade just hit the smoothest 3. Kid is so poised. Man, what do I have to give up for Cade? Oh, God. What I would do. What I would do. You want to see me just acting like a drunken fool? Tune in on lottery night if they get the first pick because holy shit. Rivers has sucked lately. Yeah, Rivers hasn't been great. Oh, thank you. 7 people have hit it so far. That's great. Jonas, Theo Pinson, low key one of our most important players. I agree. Get that culture. Culture is maybe the best thing about this team. All right, I think that's about it. Kuminga or Green from Evan. I don't know. I'll rely on Spencer Perlman, who apparently has seen the mysterious, elusive G League scrimmage tape, the Ignite scrimmage tape, and he said Kuminga didn't look that great. So I always get my draft takes from Spencer anyway. Green sounds like more of the player that we need, but I want to see him, and we're gonna get to see him in a week, so that's awesome. And last one. Who would you get in free agency if you had your way? It's a good one to end on. Who would I get in free agency if I had my way? I'd get Victor Oladipo. Yeah, I'd get Victor Oladipo. I think Victor Oladipo is really good. And I think he forced his way out of Indiana, and I think the way he did it was not great. But I would, if the medical checked out and I felt okay about the medical, which who the hell knows, but if I felt okay about the medical, I would throw the bag at Victor Oladipo because I think Victor Oladipo is really fucking good. And I've said this a few times. I was writing about the Pacers that season. He had an All NBA campaign and was like got a couple MVP votes. That dude's good. So that's what I would do in free agency if I had my way. Oh, I don't Kawhi. Someone mentioned Kawhi. Obviously, if Kawhi, yes, if Kawhi Leonard wants to come to the Knicks, please come to the Knicks. I hope that goes without saying. What did my producer Andrew Claudio? If you had your way, throw the bag at Kawhi. This is a hypothetical. I'm sorry, that should have been obvious. It goes without saying. If I had my way, throw the bag at Kawhi. You know who I would not throw the bag at? I would not throw the bag at Andre Drummond. Can I just say that for the record? I do not want to be the team that pays Andre Drummond his next contract. I just want to put that out there. Not Kyle. Is Yash on here? Is that you, Yash? I think that I didn't realize Yash watched these things. No, I'm not throwing the bag at Kyle O'Quinn, Yash. I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure he's busy in. Does Singapore have a league? I don't know. Anyway, Kyle Lowry. If Kyle Lowry wants to come on a cheap 1 or 2 year deal, maybe. All right, I have to go write a newsletter. Thank you, everybody, so much. This was amazing. I will give you a tidbit, not a Knicks tidbit, but a KFS tidbit. I have a pretty cool podcast guest coming up soon. I'm not going to say who it is, but it's good, and you're going to like it. So if you're not subscribed to the Knicks Film School podcast, please subscribe. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel. And thank you for tuning in tonight. Please subscribe if you haven't yet. Thank you, Andrew, for writing that. And I'll see everybody on Saturday night. Adios.